All right, well, don't sit down just yet. We're going to have a little invocation here, and then we'll sing our opening hymn. All right, so thank you, Mother, Father, God, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for the space, for the opportunity for friendship, and our connection to Spirit. As with this, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you. And let's sing. Our opening hymn on the white card are the words, "Let there be peace on earth." And our first hymn will be We Three Kings, number 281 in Wings of Song.
And I just want to point out, because I just read it in one of my mysteries, the gold was for Jesus' royalty, the frankincense was for the priest, and the myrrh was for sacrifice. Not that we have to believe it that way, but that was the original intent.
Field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Glorious now and plain, gold I bring to crown him again, King forever, ceasing never, over us all to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Frankincense to offer have I, incense owns a deity nigh, prayer and praising, homage raising, worship him God on high. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, its bitter perfume breathes a life of gathering doom, sorrowing, sighing, bleeding, dying, sealed in the stone-cold tomb. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
All right.
Well, wait a sec, just a second. Thank you, music makers. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, everybody. Yeah. So we'll now have our announcements for the morning. All right. First of all, please put your phones on mute or do not disturb. Thank you very much. We do have a suggestion box at the back of the church. You can also, if you have not done so, there's a form back there for membership if you'd like to join. And you can fill that out and put that in the box along with a donation of your choice. Next week speaking is Barbara With. We're gonna do a sing-along. We're gonna have songs next week and sing and sing and sing. So that'll be a lot of fun. Check out our website, Facebook, or newsletter if you need any answers to questions. Otherwise, you can contact us through multiple different channels. You can also talk to one of the board members and let us know what you have in mind. And if you've missed or would like to re-watch a service, check us out on YouTube. We do post them after we've recorded them. We are recording and we are live on Zoom today. So hi, Zoomers at home. Hope we're all having a good day and hope you all got shoveled out yesterday. We do have a Unity book discussion group, which meets on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. It is in person and on Zoom, so if you'd like to do the Zoom thing or want to just stay in your jammies and watch from afar, that's always my favorite. And you can always pick up wherever we are in the book so that you don't have to be at the beginning of the book to know where we are. We always get into some very good discussions there. Steve has an announcement for us.
Real quick, our New Earth group is meeting, but it's not going to meet until after the holidays. We have a board meeting next Sunday, so that's going to be postponed, and then we'll wait till after the holidays. So I'll announce that later.
Thank you, Steve. All right, Carolyn has kindly texted me for having the announcements because she fell and broke her elbow about a week and a half ago. And she just had surgery on Thursday, so we want her to stay inside and no more slipping on the ice. So that's going to be part of our prayers for her later. Okay, so she wanted me to announce the snow, cleaning it. Michael, our lovely Michael, did a lovely job of snow blowing last night. So when Steve and I got here this morning, there was very little for us to have to push around. So thank you, Michael. Thank you, Steve. And thank me. Yay. At lunch, we do have some letters that need to be folded and put into envelopes. They are informing you of some minor bylaws changes that we talked about last week, but we need to get you informed about it 2 months in advance to be able to allow you to vote on it. So if we get those suckers folded, enveloped, mailed tomorrow, we will be on task and we will have another community meeting in about 2 months. So please help us out with that if you get a chance. Also, and remember that that's coming up in the future. Also, Christmas, New Year's. I think it was announced or even sent out in an email that we want to do some different things for Christmas and New Year's because it does fall on Christmas and New Year's Day. We were thinking maybe a movie in the afternoon on Christmas Day, or was that I can't remember. What have we got? What is it, Carol? Okay, movies for Christmas Day and New Year's Day. And, you have it?
Yeah, it's just, we won't have a service in the morning on those 2 days. We will have a Zoom in the afternoon, and we will keep you posted so we can do that live from home. And we'll let you know what time, and then we'll do a movie, which was Mission Joy with the Dalai Lama on Christmas afternoon, and then we'll do a meditation on New Year's Day, so.
Yeah, those will be available later
those are going to be streamed. The video will be just that day. The meditation, there won't be anything to really stream, so.
But if we can't watch that day, we could watch those videos another time.
Mission Joy is a purchase, so we're purchasing it to stream that day. We can't record it and play it again because that would violate the copyright, so you'd have to buy that yourself. I think it's like $4 or $5, so.
Yeah, I'm glad somebody knows what's going on. I'm kind of out there in my own little world. Okay, the question that she had for me to ask of you, however, is, would you prefer those gatherings on Christmas Day and New Year's Day to be at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock? And if you have any preference or want to put any input on that, just let us know, and we'll figure it out from there. Yeah, so next week is our Christmas sing-along, sing and share Christmas songs and channeling from Barbara With. And of course, a potluck feast. Don't forget to bring something for potluck next week. And now we were going to get to our most important part of this morning's announcements. We're going to ask for some prayer intentions. Does anyone have any prayer requests? And I do want to have us pray or have Carolyn Sheets in our mind because of her surgery, and she seems to be doing remarkably well. She's texting me all the time, letting me know what she wants me to do, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so she's upbeat, she's sleeping well, she's feeling good, she doesn't have too much pain, but we want her to get a full recovery. So let's put her in our intentions bowl, which, Jan, would you mind picking up the bowl from the back and bringing it up here for us? Thanks. We got an intentions bowl. You can always put in a piece of paper with a name on it for someone who you feel needs prayers. Or if you don't want to put in a paper thing, you can always put it in mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So definitely we want to have Carolyn's name in there. And any others? Carol?
Everyone who has passed, is passing, and all of their loved ones. This includes Richard Johnson and his family, my friend Bonnie and her family, and so many others.
Oh, yeah. It seems like there's quite a number of people who have decided that it's their time to go into the ether world and help us from there.
This time of year.
Yeah, and it does happen a lot.
Closure time.
Yep, it is. And that's one of the things that she wanted us to pray about in our intentions bowl, is that Richie Townsend's mother, Myrna Smith, did pass, and she leaves 3 generations behind with Ricky and his 2 sisters and their kids and grandkids. So we want to make sure that we keep Myrna in our prayers also. Anyone else? Oh, I see she emailed me or texted me again. Oh,
My friend Don Doss, who's been really a cancer warrior and a kind soul and a poet, always benefits from prayers.
prayers. And I'm sorry, what was the first name again? Don. Okay, Don. And we have one more exciting announcement. Thank you, Laura. Laura Whitney is going to officially join the Board of Trustees, so we are now a full quorum. So thank you very much. We can always use a full vote. And don't forget, after service, join us for coffee and snacks. We do have some coffee, we have some goodies downstairs, so we also have water for tea, so make sure you come and join us for that. And the third Sunday, of course, next week will be potluck. So I think that's all I have for announcements at this point. Principles, that's what we do next. We are going to do the principles on the white card today. So, yes, we believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are expressed, intelligence. It's been a while since I read these, sorry. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We believe in our universal connection in spirit and that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the Golden Rule. Whatsoever ye would that others should do unto you, do ye also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. And with that, I am going to hand things over to our wonderful Robert Aho. Thank you so much for being here, sir. We appreciate you. And I think I'll move that up a little bit for you.
Good morning. My talk today has to do with my near-death experience a few years ago, and I think I've sort of danced around this topic a little bit in my previous talks here and other places, but there is one thing that really needs clarification, and that's the spiritual path. Now, what does that mean? What is a spiritual path? We're here in a church with people from very diverse backgrounds, all sorts of different spiritual practices, different ways of looking at things. We just read the principles, which are, they're somewhat specific, but they're also open enough for interpretation and for people to really, for a community to be more inclusive from a diverse background. So, I mean, it really makes a lot of sense, and it's a wonderful thing. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to do this, but so after my near-death experience, I wrote 2 books. Timeless Luminosity was the first. The Frog, a spiritual autobiography spanning many lifetimes, was the second. This one is Inspiration to Help People Awaken. It sort of briefly really talks about my near-death experience. I didn't get into it in depth, but there's poetry in here to help you to awaken. And awakening is something that all spiritual paths have in common. So, what are we doing when we awaken? We're opening our heart and mind to what is. So, this book, The Frog, is to help give people confidence in their spiritual path. Now, in here, I have only one chapter that's really heavily devoted to my near-death experience, but I talk about past lifetimes. I talk about having different beliefs, different spiritual, I won't say they were different spiritual paths. At the time, they felt like they were different spiritual paths. But they were ways that I was really trying to connect with the divine. And I didn't know what the divine was. And I don't think anybody really does until you become the divine, until you become that light, which is what happened to me when I had my near-death experience. I instantaneously became the light, the source, God. Dharmakaya is how I usually phrase it. That's a Buddhist term, Dharmakaya. And from a Buddhist point of view, Dharmakaya is ultimate reality. Now, in Buddhism, and I don't think Buddhism is alone in this, but in other perspectives, relative reality is anything we think. anything we believe, anything that we conceptualize, our spiritual path is relative reality. I mean, this is important. So when we say ultimate reality, you can't point at it. You know, we can say things like the light. You can say things like God. You can say the source. You can say Dharmakaya. These are just symbolic representations. That's not the reality of what that is. And there's no way I could ever explain it to anybody what it was like becoming the light. There's no way to possibly fathom what that is. Now, that doesn't mean that relative reality disappears. That doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that every belief, every thought, every spiritual path, every idea, every philosophy, it doesn't mean that that disappears, because that's encompassed by the light. See, everything that we do is a reflection of that light. Everything. Our body is really, you know, we think of our body, I mean, I think, oh man, I have health issues. I'm falling apart. You know, I think, how did I wind up in this body? You know, and well, that is also part of this Dharmakaya. This is also the enlightened body. This is all part of our real nature that we forget about. We become sort of blocked in our understanding. We miss what that is. Our speech. Michael and I were talking about this notion that sound can help you to awaken. Well, our enlightened voice, our enlightened speech, all of this energy, which is really energy, and that's what we really are, is energy. You know, we're not only Dharmakaya light, we're also this energy, which term is Sambhogakaya in Buddhism. And so we have this quality as well. And our enlightened mind. You know, our real nature is that condition of light, the source. That's what we have always been. We're already a Buddha. We're already an enlightened being. We just keep forgetting. It's because we get distracted, we let disturbing emotions take over, we have all sorts of notions and obstacles that we create. We create these obstacles ourselves. So, I mean, something that gets in the way or is distracting, it's only distracting because we allow it. It's not distracting because there's anything inherently distracting about something. It's because we allow our own mind to go there. So this is kind of a long, kind of getting up to this point where I'm trying to explain what the true essence, you know, what are these lessons that I learned when I was in the death bardo? And I should say, for those who don't know what a bardo is nothing but a gap. So right now we're in the life bardo, which is the gap between birth and death. When we go to sleep at night, we're in the dream bardo. That's the gap between going to sleep and waking up in the morning. The death bardo is your body dies and you're reborn. This is a big circle. This is a big cycle that we're trapped in. I could see that very clearly, and I understood that. But the essence of the spiritual path, no matter what it is, no matter what your background is, we are trying to awaken to what is real. I mean, think about that. When I was a Christian, I was exploring that in a way where I wanted to know what was real. when I learned shamanistic practices, and I, I talked about this in my book, I wanted to see what was real. And those of you who know shamanistic practices, you know that there can be these drumming and visualizations that are really vastly intense, and you're journeying into the spirit world and these types of things. That's relative reality. It's not to be diminished. It's not to say it's not real, because if we are perceiving something, that's relative reality. If we are knowing without our senses, that's ultimate reality. You're knowing beyond concept, beyond belief. So that's the reality that is when we're going beyond all of these things that we find we say, well, okay, we're gonna believe this. Let's just say that we're gonna believe this. Okay, so fine, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually very good from when it's useful. If it's useful, then it's perfectly fine. If it is something that obstructs from that light, change it. Beliefs are not, there's nothing that says a belief has to be static. When you're on a spiritual path, the spiritual path is about awakening to reality. To reality. We are looking at our spiritual condition, at all phenomena as it is. Not as we believe it to be, not as we wish it to be, as it is. This is an unfolding that can happen in each and every moment of your life, but you have to be open to that. So another way of describing awakening or enlightenment is opening your heart and mind completely, accepting everything as it is. When that happens, I would recommend being prepared for that. Because when you open your heart and mind completely, everything rushes in. Everything. So all of the things that you still need to deal with, all of the things that you have not addressed, you've avoided things, you've avoided them in your spiritual practice, you haven't faced these demons of mind, you haven't faced the things that make you frightened, you need to prepare yourself for that awakening. So if it was as easy as just saying, snap my fingers, I'm awake, well, everybody would be fully enlightened right now. That would be no problem, really easy. And it is that easy. That's what makes it so incredibly difficult. Because if you awaken, you have to understand that it's effortless. You're not resisting reality. You're not resisting your interpretation of it. You're looking at everything as it is. Now keep that phrase in mind, as it is. The great Tulku Urgyen Rinpoche, he wrote two volumes of a book called As It Is. And that phrase stuck in my head. And when I came back from my near-death experience, I had experienced that as it is. And ever since then, I repeat that phrase all the time. I'm writing a newsletter now, and it's at timelessluminosity.com. If you're interested in subscribing, it's free. I try to do it every week. And in that newsletter, I write as it is all the time. And I'm really encouraging everybody to awaken and to keep focused on awakening. Start your spiritual practice every day with this intention of awakening and to becoming the light or the source, to really treat yourself with the proper respect. Treat your own spiritual path as being incredibly precious, whatever it may be. You know, it might be something disturbing to others, but you're very, very adamantly doing this, right? Don't worry about that. It's your spiritual path. And to be on a spiritual path, you don't look outside yourself. You're looking inwardly. You're looking at this light within yourself. You're looking introspectively. This is why in meditation, it's very typical to say, you know, look at your mind. It's like the first teaching with a lot of teachers is meditation teachers will say, look at your mind. And so you close your, you know, sit comfortably and you close your eyes and you look inwardly at your mind, and you can't find it. There's nothing there. So, but it's important because now you're looking at all the wisdom, all the innate wisdom that you will ever need. It's the same as what Christ taught, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. I really don't think that the biblical texts have explored that nearly far enough. It's so important because, okay, it's within you. If the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven is within you, that means you've got everything right here. How do you find that? So he was really saying, look at mind. Christ was saying, look at mind. He was telling us to meditate. Why is it not expanded upon more than that? Now I know there are many Christians, Franciscan monks, many very serious Christians who picked up on that they utilize that as being important. And why did they keep doing it? You know, I mean, it's certainly interesting if you explore the surface of that just a little bit. You just, you know, you touch on it a little bit, and you say, oh, that's interesting. You examine it a little bit. But it's quite another thing to keep doing that. So they found great benefit in exploring that. It's just as His Holiness the Dalai Lama said that don't use Buddhism to become a Buddhist. Use Buddhism to become better at whatever you already are. I mean, when he said that, he's touching upon the preciousness of all religions and all spiritual paths. He's not saying abandon whatever you've got to become a Buddhist. He's saying use Buddhism. There's methodologies that will help improve what you're already on, what you're already doing. These are teachings, you know, meditation. These are teachings that will help you awaken, which is that's the essence of all spiritual paths. I mean, it's easy to get distracted by the notion of, well, this spiritual path is very nice, I feel peaceful, I like the different things we do in a spiritual path. There's certain traditions and different things that we happen to do from time to time. But why are you really doing that? There's a part of us that's saying, look, you're on a spiritual path. This is your chance to awaken. So you may not awaken in this lifetime or the next lifetime or 1,000 lifetimes, or you might awaken in 2 seconds. It's up to you. I mean, it's what you're ready for. And it's possible. It's not unachievable. Sometimes circles of people will say that that's really unattainable and you shouldn't even think about it. And it's like, well, if you're already enlightened, it's achievable. Nobody's higher or lower than anybody else. It's not, throw that pecking order thing away. It's just a distraction and a nuisance. We all have that potentiality. but we have to treat our spiritual path with the utmost respect. We have to look at our own lives as being that wonderful, wonderful opportunity to awaken. A human life is by far the best life for awakening. You know, in Buddhism it says, well, it's the best life because we don't have it too bad and we don't have it too good. You know, if we were in a God realm, everything would be blissful and enjoyable, and we wouldn't want to bother with our spiritual practice. We're just too happy all the time, right? Or if we're in a hell realm, we're so miserable we couldn't possibly, you know, we're dealing with too much misery. And by the way, there's lots of, all these realms of mind are, there's a lot of debate about that. And in Buddhism, it's just described as this is your mind. You find yourself in a reality. Your body as a human, this is your mind. We create this reality. We fabricate this identity of self. You know, if you weren't constantly saying, well, I'm this or I'm that, and I go there and I go here, and I belong to this and I belong to that, and, you know, here's my license, here's my credentials, blah, blah, blah. If you weren't always doing that sort of thing, you know, you wouldn't really, it wouldn't be the same person, right? You'd be something else. We fabricate this. And that's something, when I came back from my near-death experience, I had to fabricate myself. I could barely remember that I ever existed because I was that light for an eternity. Literally an eternity. My self was the light. I wasn't an independent self. I was completely part of that. I was there's no duality whatsoever. The duality, this notion that there's me standing here and everyone else somewhere else, that was gone. That was completely gone. But nothing was diminished. So I was able to fabricate myself again as a self, as a person, as an ego, because I could just barely, I started to remember. I remembered that, oh, I had this life. And it was wonderful and painful and all the things that a human life is. And eventually, I describe it as being like 100 years it took me to come back to life. Because when you're in the death bardo, time doesn't mean what it means right here in the life bardo. It's completely different. Different than the dream bardo as well. So it took me that amount of time to come back. And when I came back, as I was fabricating myself, I was looking at all these, I had been a Christian, different denominations. You know, I went through a stage where I completely rejected religion, didn't want anything to do with it. You have to prove it to me first, scientific method purely. I explored shamanistic practices. And all of that came to a bit of a crisis. And then right when that crisis happened, when I was ready for it, I discovered Buddhism. And I realized I'd been a Buddhist before in past lives, in several lifetimes. And the Buddhist path came into crisis with me as well. That's when I discovered Dzogchen, which is considered the 9th yana of Buddhism by the Nyingma school. There's the Hinayana, which the Theravada is the only surviving of that level of teaching, which was original to Buddha Shakyamuni. There were 18 schools originally. Then there's the Mahayana and the Vajrayana, and then Dzogchen. Dzogchen is not contained by Buddhism, so I could also say I'm not a Buddhist. Dzogchen existed long before Buddhism. It existed in the Bon tradition. And the definition of Dzogchen is the nature of mind. It's the practice of the nature of mind. All the rest of Buddhism is the practice of mind. Those are practices of mind. So, Dzogchen doesn't reject Buddhism, but it's not engaging in it in a way that the rest of Buddhism engages in it. It also doesn't reject any other religion or spiritual practice, because all of this is contained in our real nature. And when I look at people in various backgrounds, I say, how wonderful. Look at their spiritual practice. How wonderful, how fortunate. They're serious about their own spiritual practice. They're exploring this religion or that religion, but I really celebrate when a person keeps their spiritual practice in mind, always keeping their spiritual practice in mind. A religion is that's a group of people that come together to believe one thing. Spiritual practice is not the same thing. Spiritual practice is held by you individually. It's your understanding. It's your path. It's completely unique, independent. There's no two spiritual paths that are the same. No two people, no two beings in existence. And there's a great amount of debate about how many beings there are in the universe or the multiverse or beyond that. No two perceive things the same way. Everybody has a unique vision because we're all conditioned by our own experiences. And so we may look at anything. You look at a book, you look at a candle. You have different experiences. You think about it in different ways. And it's unique. And that's what makes it so precious. So I really want to make it very clear that a spiritual path is you. It's unique. You have to trust your own intuition with your spiritual path. It's up to you. It's something that is your real nature or your Buddha nature is constantly telling you, pushing you a little bit, whispering something in your ear, giving you a little nudge now and again, because your real nature wants you to awaken. It wants you to go home. It wants you to be in that light. It doesn't want you to suffer. That's your real nature. It wants the best for you. And if you can really start listening to your intuition, you start to realize that your intuition is always right. Your wishful thinking is, generally speaking, it's always wrong. We wish lots of things, and it gets us into trouble. But if we can really become in tune with our intuition or our Buddha nature, I use them synonymously, we start to realize that this infinite wisdom that we already have, it's already perfect. It's perfect in every way. It's always right. We have that ability to awaken anytime we want. So it's absolutely essential that we go to that. And it's not a search for belief. It's not a search for philosophies or thought or ideas. It's a search for who we really are, the reality of our condition. This is not who we want to be. This is who we really are. And what I discovered when I died, we're light. We are infinite wisdom. That's who we are. It's not out there. It's right here. It's in our heart center. Right here. We can look inwardly at our heart center, and that's us, that light. We start to become more sensitive to our own energy, our own light. That's us. But it's indescribable. I mean, to say it's light, I mean, this light here, it's nothing. It's nothing compared to what we really are. This is who we really are is beyond any constraints. We have no limitations whatsoever. Our spiritual path has nothing that can limit us. We have infinite potentiality, always. But we spend a lot of time limiting ourselves and finding ways to talk ourselves out of things and to get distracted and get angry, get upset, get sad, even happiness is a distraction. You know, our real nature is it's very pristinely aware as it is. That is our real nature. Okay, so what time are we looking at here? All right. So I wanted to read one of my poems that I think has some pertinence to this today and with this today, and then we can do just a short meditation. I want to just give you a little bit of just a little simple practice that I think everybody should do every day. But it's up to you. I mean, this is your spiritual path. It's just my suggestion. So, this is in Timeless Luminosity, and this book has a poem at the beginning and end of each chapter as well. And I did bring a few books today in case you're interested. I'll put them out on a table downstairs today. This is poem number 108. What is that bright sky? Ah, it is not out there, it is in here. Yes, it is not in here either, nor is it both. It is not this or that, not other, not neither, not the same. It is beyond what is both and neither, beyond what can be added or negated. It cannot be located in either time or space. Where can it be? That bright, spacious sky, brilliant beyond 1,000 stars, brighter than all universes together in one dot. Utter openness, expanding forever into now. That brightness, that amazing thatness. That cannot be explained, not explained, not different, not separate, glowing from within, utter intensity beyond reason. I can see that I have never gone away from that. In this present explosive radiant nowness, as I dedicate this perfect merit to all beings, to protectors, to guardians, to dakas as well as dakinis, to wisdom beings and the guru of this timelessly luminous path, my perfect guru who is really just primordial nature of mind. I can see that I have seen all that before, in death and life and dreams always, forever, in this amazing, ever-present, instantaneously always, clearly eternal, all good, perfect, now. Okay, so I'll guide you just a little bit in a really basic meditation. First, I'd like to just start off, really important to start your meditation by developing peacefulness. So this is shamatha, and so we'll just listen to breath. as you're staying in that very peaceful, relaxed state, develop the intention of awakening. Just see how precious your own life, your own spiritual path really is. Have the utmost compassion for yourself. Develop that compassion and see that you deserve to awaken and that it's possible. So remain focused on breath with this intention. Now, with this attitude of bodhicitta, which is a compassionate wish to awaken, look at mind. Look inwardly at mind. It's in your heart center. This is where all your energy converges. It's in your heart center. And just, your eyes don't need to be closed. They can be just half open maybe, just looking down. Look at mind. Now, as you're looking at mind, see that our real guru is this eternal light that we all share. This is all of our heart center. This is what is that innate primordial wisdom within all of us. We are all that light. Let's unite our spiritual paths by sounding the ah sound together. This unites us all so that we are all inseparable, and we're all inseparable so that we know we're all inseparable with the light. We've just united all of our spiritual practice in the same space. Now I'll sing the dedication prayer. Om Dare Dare Vendare Swaha Jaya Jaya Siddhi Siddhi Pala Pala Aha Sama Mama Colon Samantha. Thank you very much.
Michael, you have a song for us?
Thank you for the opportunity to sing again. Robert was talking about the journey into the light. There's an Inuit saying that goes, to live to see the great day that dawns and the light that fills the world. Some of you know that I'm a singer-songwriter at a couple of Catholic churches, and there's a song in the Catholic tradition called Night of Silence. And it speaks to that journey towards Christmas with an anticipation of the coming of Christ. At the same time, it also speaks in the language of the solstice, coming from that place of darkness. It goes, cold are the people, winter of life. We tremble in shadows, this cold, endless night. So it speaks of the darkness that we can live in. In the DSM, they talk about SAD, seasonal affective disorder. In the Native American tradition, this is the time of the bear, the time to go into the den and be reflective. And some might call it depression. Some of us deal with that. It's a normal part of the human process as far as I'm concerned. In this song, within the context of the Christian tradition, or anticipation of the coming of Christ, or of the sun's light, or in the pagan tradition of the solstice, in moving towards the brighter light. That's what this song speaks of to me. Cold are the people, winter of life. We tremble in shadows this cold, endless night. Frozen in the snow lie roses sleeping, flowers that will echo the sun's light. Fire of hope is our only warmth. Weary its flame will be dying soon. Voice in the distance, call in the night. On wind you enfold us, you speak of the light. Gentle on the ear, you whisper softly rumors of a dawn so embracing. Breathless love awaits darkened souls. Soon will we know of the morning. Spirit among us, shine like the star. Your light that guides shepherds and kings from afar. Shimmer in the sky, so empty, lonely. Rise rising in the warmth of your Son's love. Star unknowing of night and day. Spirit, we wait for your loving Son.
Oh, thank you, Michael. I don't know where those came from. Hopefully those aren't somebody's notes that they need. Okay, at this point, can we have just a little light background music there, Carol? And we'll have somebody grab the baskets for the offering? Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, all that we receive, and all that we return. Thank you very much. All right. Such a lovely service. I hate to see it end, but we will be singing our final song here in just a moment. But I would just like to offer also a blessing, a final benediction. Oh, the church affirmation. I got 2 church affirmations I get to read. That's right. All right. Our church affirmation. Let's read the church affirmation. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. And as Carolyn likes to say, joyful teamwork is our way. Listening kindly is our path. We are in renewal together. Woo! Let us join up in our circle. We'll have a little oblong going. All righty. So those of you who remember it with me, we'll do the unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And we will sing, God be with us. Sugar, yep.